On this session of Neek Speaks, we're going to be discussing. I'm going to be sharing my thoughts, and we're going to be discussing why the I can't get through this intro. Oh, sorry. Hey y'all, what's up? So on this session of Neek Speaks, I'm going to be discussing why you should not kill your ego. Kill your ego. Let's get into it, because you know it's finna be good. This sweater sucks. Man. So let's get right into the meaning of the ego, which in simplicity is your sense of self, right? The ego is your sense of self. And like all things, the ego has its polarities, right? So we're going to discuss those polarities. The general narrative that we've heard or created about the ego is negative, right? Is to destroy it. And particularly, that narrative has been spread through the spiritual community. And being the advocate for thinking for yourself, I thought to myself, well, if the ego is my sense of self, why would I speak death upon that? Why would the girl speak death upon herself? Shouldn't I be embracing and cultivating and creating a healthy relationship with my ego, or with that part of myself, or essentially with myself? Well, of course, because that's essentially what ascending and evolving entails: integrating and embracing all parts of yourself so you can ultimately function smoothly. That doesn't sound right. So that you can operate at a high sense of self-awareness, right? So the ego isn't necessarily good or bad, but depending on how you choose to operate in your ego will affect you and your relationships. So the negative polarities of the ego is the over-identification with things that, or factors that are external to you, such as material possessions, social status, financial status, achievements, titles, physical appearance, cultural identity, and basically seeking validation from things that are external to you, right? And when you feel like you don't have those things, or you don't have a certain level of those things in your life, when you're seeking validation outside of yourself, you tend to feel like you're not worthy or feel less than. But we've heard it all before. So I really want to highlight how to operate in the positive polarity of the ego. So embracing and integrating the ego for me is basically being secure in who, how, and what I am, and allowing that to serve me and not sabotage me. Now, allowing my ego to sabotage me means that I'm attaching my self-worth and awareness to external factors, whereas allowing my ego to serve me is attaching myself, or attaching to the internal perception of myself. Now I know that word attachment can get a little funny, but like all things, attachment has a negative polarity and a positive polarity. So just stay with me here. So I identify internally with my ability to take accountability, to own my strengths and weaknesses and achievement, my ability to express myself authentically, and showing myself compassion, right? Because nothing outside of myself can validate me. essentially, in other words, nothing outside of myself can validate my ego. It can be recognized or like receive recognition, but that is a result of how I choose to show up in the world, right? For example, in order for me to evolve from the fear of being seen, I had to take my ego by the hand and say, hey, Buki, I understand how this change can be scary. I understand that you're comfortable. I understand that you're comfortable being this version of yourself, or you're comfortable of practicing these behaviors and, all the things. I know that that is scary. But let me remind you that you are that girl. And for me to tell myself that I'm that girl is basically reminding myself of who I am. My ego knows that, right? My ego knows that. I know that. So I have to tell my ego, being that girl is being fearless. Being that girl is overcoming challenges, because the girl loves a challenge, and the fear of being seen is no different, right? So being that girl is stepping out of my comfort zone. The girl transforms in her sleep. So essentially, what is stopping me? Nothing. Unless I allow myself to stop myself, but essentially nothing is stopping me. Okay, I had to tell my ego, I need you to trust me on this one. Like, I got you. I know we don't know what's on the other side of being ourselves. On the other side of being ourselves. I know we don't know what's on the other side of this new version of ourselves and us stepping out of our comfort zone. But this is something that we have to do. Okay, this is something that we want to do. If we have a desire to be more self-expressive, we have a desire to be seen, but I'm not going to allow anxiety to stop us from doing that, right? Because we're that girl. So once I process that, it's like, here I am. Here I am showing up as that girl. Me starting this channel, me stepping out of my comfort zone, essentially, me creating more than I'm consuming. This is me. Okay, this is me showing up as a girl. Round of applause for the girl being the girl. Okay, round of applause for the girl being the girl. So, I hope that this session encourages you to not kill your ego, but embrace it, nurture it, speak life into it. Okay, the ego is not something that needs to be put to death. It's something that needs to be nurtured. It's something that needs to be brought to life. Integrated and cultivated, and essentially build a relationship with your ego, which is basically yourself. So like, share, subscribe, and comment anything that you would like to share, whether it's some questions, advice, or even share your experiences on understanding the ego. Thanks for listening to this session of Neek Speaks. I will see y'all next time. Bye. God, that was excruciating. I'm not trying to do another take.